I cannot believe that we're already in the back half of 2024.
Are you kidding me?
But here we are. Before you know it, the calendar will be turning again, and that means we are already getting ready for 2025 conferences, and one that I'm personally very excited to attend again is the Insights EDU conference. If you care at all about growing enrollment and building a student-centered higher ed experience, you really should be at this conference. Registration is now open, so secure your spot while early bird pricing is still available. Visit insightsedu.com for more information and to register. That's visit insightsedu.com for more information and to register.
Ad-free episodes, extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content. That's right, original content and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp. To become a subscriber, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com and subscribe to our free email newsletter to learn how you can get access. Again, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to EdUp on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. This is your special guest host. I'm Dr. Lori Shanderson, and I'm actually the host of EdUp Accreditation, but I'm taking some time off today to speak to the wonderful, I don't know what other adjectives to put in, the famous, the cinematic genius, Dr. Lester McCorn, who happens to be the president at Clinton College in Rock Hill, South Carolina. So welcome, Dr. McCorn.
Thank you, Dr. Shanderson. Glad to be with you.
And you can call me Lori, so don't worry.
Okay, all right.
But anyway,
Lester.
I will call you Mr.
Lester's fine.
Oh, I thought you said Mr. I was thinking, color purple.
No, please. I don't want to be him.
Call me Mr. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us today. You're a visionary leader, scholar, author, activist, college president, and you're the 13th president there at Clinton College in Rock Hill. And you're also the author of Standing on Holy Common Ground, an Afrocentric Ministry Approach to Prophetic Community Engagement. So that sounds really interesting. I can't wait to hear more about that book. Sure. But you are the president now, and I see you've gone to the Harvard Seminar for New Presidents. I went as well. I enjoyed that very much.
Yeah,
it was
experience.
Awesome sauce.
Yeah.
And I see that you're going to be leading an aggressive capital campaign with new residence halls, academic buildings, athletic complex. This is all very exciting stuff in the life of a president. So again, thank you for joining us today. I want to spend some time reflecting on your leadership and initiatives at Clinton College.
Sure, would love to.
All right, well, as a visionary leader, and I know you've been described as visionary, can you share how your vision for Clinton College has evolved since your inauguration and how it aligns with the historic missions of HBCUs?
Great question. So, I came to a school which is one of, historically speaking, one of the less known schools. I won't say it's a lesser light, but just lesser known, and has operated in somewhat obscurity. But that changed because we made some conscious decisions to make ourselves more public facing, be more intentional about promoting who we are and defining our niche. And that definition led us to the idea of a work college. Clinton College was a junior college, been around since 1894, founded and sponsored by the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church, AME Zion, whose headquarters are in Charlotte, right up the road. And we have two undergraduate institutions, Livingstone College, another HBCU in Salisbury, North Carolina, and Clinton, what used to be Clinton Junior College. So when I got here, Lori, they had just made the shift to becoming a 4-year accredited liberal arts school, but they were kind of dipping their toe in the water and hadn't gone all the way. I pushed them all the way in to become a 4-year liberal arts college. And in that, we had to distinguish ourselves because there are 18, between North Carolina and South Carolina, there are 18 HBCUs. Wow. And South Carolina alone has 8. So what about us was different? What would make students want to come? Well, when I looked at the profile of the school and even thinking about my own background, I went to Morehouse College as a very poor kid. I was homeless when I was in high school. In fact, I'm the subject of a documentary called From No House to Morehouse. And I know the challenges that first generation low wealth students have. And one of the ways we wanted to address that challenge to add value to a higher education degree, which many people now are diminishing and saying is not as important, we looked at a model called the work college. And there are 9 federally designated work colleges in the United States. They make up the Work College Consortium, but only one of them is an HBCU, and that's Paul Quinn College in Dallas, Texas. And so I went and met with Dr. Sorrell, the outstanding leader of Paul Quinn. I visited their campus. I did all this research, and I said, this is perfect for Clinton. I mean, it fits who we are, it fits the students, and given our proximity to Charlotte, this is just an outstanding concept for us to embrace. And thankfully, my team embraced the idea of becoming a work college. So, and what that means is that your students, all residential students, are required to be in a work program that begins with internships on campus that lead to internships and externships off campus that eventually lead to jobs, full-time, gainful employment for our students. And the work college program basically pays for their tuition. So they end up graduating with very little debt.
Wow.
So to say the least, this is a game changer, right?
Absolutely.
This addresses economic issues, job training issues, workforce development, soft skills training, leadership training. All of that is what we do, and it's working really well. In addition, I'll just say this, that we added several new degrees which were relevant, that were connected to the market. So we now have a bachelor's of nursing, we have a bachelor's of cybersecurity, we have a bachelor's in healthcare management, elementary education, and interdisciplinary studies. These are all degrees that were added in the last 4 or 5 years at Clinton College. So now we've become much more competitive by being more relevant and creating a pathway to careers.
Well, I will tell you, I am super impressed. I have never heard of a work college. And to not just say, well, we encourage our students to work, but to provide them with employment opportunities, this is absolutely a game changer. And for those that say, oh, there's no benefit in having a degree, you're kind of meeting the rubber at the road at the same place. You mentioned, and I know you have a strong appreciation for this program. I mean, for being a work college designee because of your background, which is similar to mine. I also grew up, we had homeless
Oh, wow.
moments there. So going to college, it was the way to change my life and the trajectory of my life and, in some respect, my family's. And that's what you're offering to students, an opportunity to earn skills and an education at the same time. I think that is really, really commendable.
Thank you.
So one of 2 HBCUs in this consortium, I'm telling you, this does not get a lot of airplay, the work college model. But tell me, how difficult was for you to implement the work college? I mean, you're just changing into full liberal arts, and now you're taking on this different type of niche. Tell us a little bit about that process.
Yeah, well, one thing I can say, if there's one characteristic of my leadership, is I'm very strategic, right? So I looked at, the long game, and I knew it was going to take us a while to get there. In fact, I started on this probably 6 years ago, and we're just now at the point where we can approach the Department of Education about making us officially one of the work colleges in the consortium. There, as I mentioned, there are 9. We would be number 10 and only the second HBCU. You have to operate like a work college for
Right.
2 years, at least 2 years, before you can even apply.
Hmm.
So we have spent the last 2 or 3 years building our program, hiring a director of the work college, who's actually an assistant dean and director of the program, educating our staff on how to supervise interns and helping prepare them, building a whole curriculum around job preparation, workforce development, connecting them to local businesses. So it's taken time to get there, but I feel like we're ready. And I'm happy to report that the state of South Carolina, we made an appeal through our state senator to support the program to move us to becoming a federal program. The state of South Carolina is going to give us about $360,000 to fund that transition to a federal program. So I hope within the next year or so, I can come back on the show and celebrate us as the latest work college in the country. And it's really exciting. And I'll just say this, that obviously there are benefits to businesses because they want our talent, right? But we work in partnership with them to prepare these students, because one of the biggest hurdles for low wealth students is the soft skills.
Mhm.
You know, communication, being accountable, showing up on time, how to dress, how to carry yourself, all those kinds of things. We're now working in-house to get them ready so they become the most qualified candidates for these positions at these corporations.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that. I interviewed a guest yesterday or the day before yesterday, and they said that in this era of so much technology, that students have lost the ability to have self skills. I mean, to have those soft skills. And as AI comes into play, AI won't take over for the soft skills. So it is a quality and a skill set that we need to build within our students. So that, I mean, I love the fact that you've incorporated that and you're intentional about ensuring that the students have this skill set. You know, you mentioned earlier about all of the HBCUs in the area where you are, but you know, you're also in a place where just a lot of academic institutions, period.
That's right.
So you are really carved out, you really have carved out a niche there for what you're doing, very innovative.
Thank you.
And I know you've launched several impactful programs under your leadership, such as Everybody Coaches and the Academic Success Center. Can you discuss the genesis and the impact of these initiatives on student success and retention?
Yeah. So, as you can imagine, students that come from challenging backgrounds often come from systems that have either failed them or have not adequately prepared them for college. And to your last point, one of them has to do with reading and writing, right? Basic skills that you have to have. On top of the fact, obviously, as you mentioned, like social media has really hampered our students, right? They, you know, and texting, like, you know, just learning uh, how to communicate, both written and verbal communication is really important. So the Academic Success Center provides, for lack of a better term, wraparound services for our students to help them be successful in their matriculation and beyond. And one of the other challenges that our students have is it started before COVID, but was exacerbated by COVID, is is social skills and mental health,
Mm.
right? Those two things have impacted our students dramatically. And we've had to try to compensate in many ways for the effects of that. I mean, some of our students are just coming to college with trauma that they don't even know about. They're not really aware of it. They're not able to articulate it and process it, haven't realized how much it has impacted and impeded their ability to learn and interact in an educational environment. You know, and again, I'm referring to my own personal experiences. You know, I didn't realize how much trauma was in my life from extreme poverty and homelessness until I got to Morehouse. You know, thank God I had several other safety nets, if you will, with my church and with sports. You know, they were constants in my life that helped keep me focused. And I was a fairly good student, even in the midst of all of that, and had some leadership ability. I was actually elected senior class president of my high school, which was overwhelmingly white. And I think my church and other extracurricular experiences I had gave me public speaking skills. I learned leadership and parliamentary procedure and those kinds of things. But I think about so many of our students that don't have that,
Right.
right? They didn't come up in, I mean, we already know the statistics, less and less people are attending church, let alone being involved in the programs and ministries of church, which for Black folk was everything. right? Our whole lives revolved around the church, and we learned leadership. We learned civic life and involvement through the programs of the church. So a lot of these students who are coming to us haven't even had that. So the Academic Success Center takes all of that into account. And our TRIO programs are also a part of that center, which is, TRIO programs, their primary focus is first generation, low wealth students. So we've been able to provide the kind of services and resources for our students so that they will have no excuse for being successful.
I think that Clinton made a good choice in choosing you because you clearly can speak to the population of students that you have.
Yep.
But I want to know, how does your experience as a pastor influence your leadership style and your approach to mentorship within the college community?
Everything to do with it. I feel like I'm still a pastor, right? So having a vision on service, on servant leadership, on providing care and counseling and support to people, walking alongside people while they're trying to pursue their best possible selves. I learned all of those things as both a pastor, and I worked as a community organizer for a little while. So I brought all that to bear, along with some great experiences I've had in leadership. I was the vice president of the school board in New Haven, Connecticut, while I was going to Yale Divinity School and pastoring a church. And I've run a couple of community development corporations. So those skills I brought with me into higher ed. And I think when you consider what we have to do with these HBCUs, right, you have to have not only an ethos of community and communalism, which brings everybody together, you also have to have a real heart for people. And you can't do these jobs, especially at HBCUs. You can't do this if you don't absolutely, unequivocally love your students.
Right.
You got to love them
Well,
because they come with a lot of challenges.
31 years as a pastor, I mean, you have to love people.
That's right.
I love that you were able to, share that with the students, because to your point, what they need are those wraparound services. When you don't come from a home that has a lot of wealth, you're not prepared for college. There weren't conversations about what living in the dorms will be like, how to negotiate and navigate college life. That doesn't happen. So you
Yeah.
often find yourself on a campus really at a deficit on how to navigate the social life in addition to the academic world.
That's right. Yes.
Higher education is evolving. And if you're in marketing and enrollment management, then you need to be at the Insights EDU conference.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Insights EDU 2025 is happening February 12 through 14 in New Orleans, Louisiana. This is your chance to explore the latest trends in higher education and discover new and innovative strategies to level up your program marketing and enrollment. Hear from some of the best speakers in the industry, from companies like Google, LinkedIn, Adobe, and more. Registration is now open, so secure your spot while early bird pricing is still available.
Hey everybody, this is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience. Are you enjoying the conversation so far? Good, I hope so. Did you know that you can actually hear this conversation early before anybody else and ad-free, so you don't have to hear my voice during these ads? And did you also know that you could get extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content? That's right, original content and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp? Well, if you didn't know, now you know. So go to edupexperience.com, that's EDUP experience.com, and become a subscriber today. First, you got to sign up to our free email newsletter, and then you'll find out how to become a subscriber. Again, go to edupexperience.com.
Well, tell us about this HBCU China Exchange program. If you could elaborate on the HBCU China Exchange program and what it means for students and the faculty of Clinton College in terms of global educational opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's the way of the world right now, right? We've got to help our students understand that we are now part of an interconnected global community. And even more so than when I was a student, so many moons ago. The world is so interconnected, and it helps us better understand ourselves sometimes by looking through the prism of other nations. Right. And I've had chances to travel to several African countries and South Africa. I've been to Peru and other places, and it gives you a different perspective of the privilege we have in America, but also some of the blind spots that we have as a nation. And so when I was invited to be a part of the delegation for the HBCU China Exchange, I mean, it just opened my eyes up to a world. I had never been to China before, but my God, in some ways, China is light years ahead of the United States. They have very sophisticated, almost Ivy League level institutions in China. We visited several of them, and their government made an effort. I think the program has ceased. I went in 2017. I think after COVID, the program, hit a bump in the road, and I don't know if they've ever recovered. But the idea was the government of China was sponsoring students to come to the United States, and they specifically wanted them to go to HBCUs.
Wow.
Because they felt a connection there. There was something about HBCUs that they felt their students could learn from, and being a part of a nurturing, loving environment like HBCUs are. We love everybody, right? And you don't experience some of the isolation that can happen to minority students on majority campuses. And so we have developed partnerships around degree programs, because Clinton was actually, I think there were 4 or 5 institutions represented. I know Morgan State was there, Claflin University, which is down the road from us, Fisk University, very prominent HBCU, and
Yeah.
Clinton College. Of course, we were the smallest of the group, and at that time, I didn't have a whole lot of majors to offer. So, they showed some interest and they were polite, but we're like, we don't know if our students would be, interested in your programs. It would be interesting now to return to that conversation years later, and especially post COVID, and thinking about what that would look like. But what it did is it helped me think about how I can give my students opportunities. That was the other part of the exchange, is that students from the United States could go study in Chinese universities for free, right? And they would learn Mandarin and all that. They do have English speaking professors, but they also could learn Mandarin while they're there. And I wanted desperately for our students to take advantage of that. We don't yet have an international exchange program, but that's on my horizon.
Oh, I bet. I mean, there's no way around it. And what an experience for those students to be out of the United States, seeing something different. You mentioned that in your own experience participating with this exchange, that there was an opportunity for us to see our blind spots.
Yeah,
Because I think we are the default for everything in the world.
that's right.
And when you go to other places, to your point about seeing the innovation that other countries have implemented and the intentionality around more efficiencies and things that you think, we're the United States, why aren't we better at these things? To see that other countries that aren't considered in some respects as powerful as the United States innovate the way that they do it's eye-opening, I think, at best.
I agree.
Well, you have this 125th anniversary approaching, and you're leading a significant capital campaign. So what are the key components of the campaign, and how do you envision that these changes will enhance the student experience?
Yeah, it has everything to do about students. So all the decisions we make are about students. We made a decision to be a student-centered campus, and bringing programs that would elevate not only their experience, but as I alluded to earlier, prepare them to be competitive in the marketplace. And so one of the things that we realized just was around residence halls. So Clinton has 2 residence halls. We're a small campus, 200 students. one residence hall for men, one residence hall for women. But the residence halls are old school, dormitories with bathrooms at the end of the hall, community
Oh,
bathroom.
yeah. I
Yeah,
went I went to college that way, by the
so
way, and
did
I
I.
I
So
went
did
to
I.
UT, and there
Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 So, but these students are privileged, right? Even if they come from low wealth backgrounds, they still, because they see other schools and it's like, we want the suite style,
right.
rooms, so we worked with a group to design what's called a new living learning center
Okay.
on campus, and I'm hoping to break ground this fall on that. It'll be done in phases, and it'll include, in addition to the residence portion, there'll be a brand new dining hall that'll be sort of a modern food hall with concessions and all kind of stuff. It also will double as a little bit of conference space
Yeah.
for the campus. There'll be about 150 beds in first phase and another 150 beds in the second phase of that. We have already completed, I should have mentioned this. So the Academic Success Center is actually now called the Academic Center for Excellence. It houses the office of the Dean of Academics and his staff, as well as faculty offices. Clinton did not have faculty offices in all of its history.
Really?
Faculty basically were using classrooms
I
and
see.
some common areas, to do work and to interact with students. They now have offices and cubicles, touchdown spaces for them. In addition to that, we turned our library into a digital library and learning commons. It is a phenomenal space. You got to see it. We took all of the books out. People thought I was crazy when I
Wow.
said, take the books out of the library,
Oh my. Because
except for
it even makes you feel a certain way to see them, but tell me
That's
more.
right. That's right. That's right. So we kept special collections. So we do have some historic books, unique books, books that speak to our history and culture. Those kinds of things are in special collections, maybe a few shelves of those. But the whole space was transformed into a great learning space. So there are individual pods that are soundproof that students can go into. A couple of them look like old telephone booths. And of
Yeah,
course, our students don't even know what a telephone booth
I
is.
know.
But they can go in, close the door, light comes on, air circulates automatically. They can use the board to get online and do their classes. Professors can go in there and run classes. There are some larger pods for 2 or 3 people, and then a larger pod for about 5 people. So the great neat spaces. We got all new furniture in there that looks like a virtual study hall for students in different kind of spaces they can hang out and study and learn and meet. And we also now operate our weekly Beacon Forum from that space. So you got enough seating in there to have a platform up front with a speaker and an audience and all of that. We broadcast that, live stream that every week on YouTube and Facebook and on Clinton's channel. All of that happens in the Digital Library and Learning Commons. And Lori, we have a new cybersecurity lab. We transform that space, all new state-of-the-art equipment. We now have a bachelor's of science in cybersecurity, and we now offer, right now, I've got 25 scholarships. So if anyone's on this call right now, I got 25 scholarships, tuition, room, and board for their first year in the cybersecurity program. They
Wow.
have no expense to be in this program. And my cybersecurity director told me, I asked him, I said, Dr. Mboj, what would a student make coming out of Clinton with a bachelor's in cybersecurity? He said, Mr. President, they will start at about $110,000 a year. You talk about a game changer for a poor kid from the country or from the projects, getting a degree and going into the field of cybersecurity, which is only growing, this is a great thing. And I should have said, in the Academic Center for Excellence is a nursing simulation lab. So we have dolls in there and equipment in there to teach our nurses as they get their experience in that program. And that's really, really exciting. And then the last thing is I'm hoping to build what's called the Beacon Center. It's an athletic, recreation, and health and wellness center. It will have a health clinic and it will have a YMCA. The first YMCA on an HBCU campus will
Oh,
be on the campus of Clinton College. It's about a $40 million project. So if anyone feels led to sow some money, some seed into the project, we're happy to receive it. It's a major project, but it's a game changer because it becomes the college's movement toward becoming a real community campus where residents could come and take advantage of the programs, and it'll house our award-winning basketball teams. I think that bio that you have is a little outdated. Our men's basketball team has been to the Final Four 2 years in a row.
well, congratulations.
Yeah, they've been in 5 straight conference championships. They've won 2 of them. The women have won one. And we now have a women's volleyball team, which is amazing. We've added esports. They're winning championships and getting money. And this fall, we will begin a new cross-country team, cross-country track, and golf will start in the spring.
You are doing so many things out there. I want to visit.
I
I've
hope you
got to
will.
see this library space. I mean, the innovation with everything that you're talking about is so exciting.
Oh,
And
thank you.
again, I think that they chose the right person to tell the story of Clinton, but also the story of those students and identify what their needs are to support them in a way that is, I think, just over the top, not in a bad way, but I mean, the scholarships that you're offering and, we'll get some information from you so that we can share that information out for anyone who is so inclined to apply. But what an opportunity to be
Yes.
able to go through, be gainfully employed at the end of this educational experience with no debt over your head.
Okay. That's right.
That is amazing. You are an amazing leader. And at the 2018 commencement, I heard that you were awarded the Dr. Bernice King honorary degree. And so how important is it for Clinton College to recognize and align with leaders who have a historical and cultural impact?
It means everything. And that's the other thing that I had to really work hard at Clinton. I felt in some ways that Clinton was kind of disconnected from the epicenter of HBCU life, history, and culture. It was almost as if we had to redefine ourselves as an HBCU. And part of that is connecting to this lineage, this great line of, of people who have been produced by HBCUs. I happened to be in school at the same time with Bernice King. She was at Spelman when I was at Morehouse, and we, were friends. I kind of lost touch with her, but through a mutual friend, reconnected to her. And I thought it was important for our campus community to recognize both her impact and what she has done, but also the legacy of her mother and father. Her mother, Coretta Scott, grew up in the AME Zion Church in Marion, Alabama. And so that was a way for us to reclaim and reconnect the part of her family's history. In fact, the first time I met Bernice 35 years ago, she said to me when she found out I was AME Zion, she said, my mother was a proud member of the AME Zion Church. Her parents were leaders in that local church. So I did that to celebrate her, but also to celebrate the legacy of Martin Luther King, who's my absolute hero. And he's the reason I went to Morehouse and, led my career and all of that. So that was a big deal for us. And it was good notoriety for Clinton College. I
Right.
mean, it was at a point where people started to look twice, like, wait a minute, Clinton College has Bernice King here getting an honorary doctorate. And Lori, I need to tell you this. I don't know. I know we're probably getting close to our time, but this year we gave an honorary doctorate to George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic
Oh,
George Clinton.
really?
He is the great great grandson of the founder of Clinton College.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's now Dr. Clinton, Doctor of Humane
That's
Letters.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody's got a little light under the sun.
Under the sun, under the sun, under the sun.
Well, it has been so awesome learning about Clinton College because I didn't know about Clinton College before.
Mhm.
I know that there are many HBCUs in the, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina
Mhm.
area, but I'd never heard of Clinton. And it's so nice to hear about all the wonderful things that you're doing there and all the innovation that you have there. And as we wrap up, I have one last question for you.
Sure.
So excellence without excuse. right? So that mantra has been adopted at Clinton College under your leadership. And I'd like us to discuss how that ethos is communicated and cultivated among the students and the staff.
Everybody knows it and everybody says it, right? And it's not just in word, but it's in deed. So we hold ourselves accountable to a standard of excellence from the faculty and staff down to the students. So it's a mantra, but it also drives us. It's, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I begin the year by teaching the students, because many of them don't know this poem that I learned probably in sixth grade, as I was learning the comparative and superlative forms of the word good. Good, better, best, never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. I kept hammering that home. And my hero, Benjamin Elijah Mays, he was the mentor of Martin Luther King, former president of Morehouse College. He said, not failure, but low aim is sin. And he said, our problem is we don't aim high enough. And I think when I look at my own life, I don't know who taught it to me. It was probably a combination of people who told me to never give up until I reached the top. They were always telling me there's no one better than you, that you can be the best, you can be number one, and not in arrogance, but just in pursuit of excellence. And that's, and I say to my students, so I gave them the mantra, excellence without excuse, because we can no longer offer excuses. If I, a fatherless boy from the projects of Worcester, Massachusetts, having lived in a homeless shelter for battered women and children, after being a squatter in an abandoned building, after living with a dysfunctional alcoholic white family, after standing in soup kitchen lines to get food for my family, can get degrees from Morehouse and Yale and attend University of Chicago and other places and become a president of a college, there is no excuse.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what a great point to end on. I am honored to be in your presence.
Oh, thank you.
What an amazing journey. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. McCorn. I truly appreciate everything that you brought to our listeners. I know that they're going to be excited to learn more about Clinton College and your new innovative spaces and all you're doing with your capital campaign, celebrating your very important 125th anniversary. And we stand with you in that celebration and wish nothing but the best for Clinton.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. I wish you all the best.
Well, thank you. And there you have it, everyone. You've just been EdUp'd once again, a part of the EdUp Experience in Higher Education podcast. We have, oh my goodness, podcasts on Marcom and financial aid and admissions and accreditation. Ding, ding, ding. That's yours truly. But there's so much information out there for you to partake of in the EdUp space, and we encourage you to do so. One last and final thank you to our guest today, Dr. McCorn, and we look forward to having you all come back and listen to us on the EdUp Experience. Thank you.
Calling all higher ed marketing and enrollment management professionals. Hear, hear. The Insights EDU conference is back. This is your chance to level up your marketing and enrollment management strategies, and the EdUp Experience podcast will be there once again. Join us at the Ritz-Carlton, New Orleans, February 12th through 14th for an unforgettable conference. Registration is now open with early bird pricing.
Outstanding.
Hey everybody, this is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience. Did you enjoy that conversation? I hope you did. Did you know that you can actually hear this conversation early on and ad-free? And you can also hear extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content. That's right, original content and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp. Did you know that? Well, if you didn't know, now you know. To become a subscriber, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com to subscribe to our free email newsletter to learn how you can get access. Again, that's edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com.